perfect. So we are now live, and so today we're going to be doing some role plays. Unfortunately, we have one student here, so it's going to be me, looks like, doing the role play as well. Okay, so we have, I have two kind of situations that I think could be helpful. The first one I'd like to do is, not the interview, the interview? I didn't even write them down, I just had it in my head. So basically an interview, okay? And so we'll kind of go back and forth and I'll ask you some questions and things like that. And then the other one will be discussing the interview and how it went, okay? So it'd be the interviewer and maybe their boss or something, okay? And then they'll talk about it, decide if they're going to hire this person or not. Okay, so I think before we actually get started, we should talk about what kind of job you're applying to, okay? What would be something that you would be good at that you would, like to have an interview for? And then we can kind of go from there. Just need to get some paper out here. All right, so if you had to apply to, maybe it's the same job you have, I don't know what to do, maybe it's a different job, what kind of job would you like to do? I'd like to be the interview person, the interviewer, and you will be the interviewee, okay?
Okay, maybe since you're a teacher, so teacher.
Okay, so an English teacher, would you be an English teacher or a general, like, children's teacher, high school teacher?
English teacher.
All right, sounds good.
Could be high school or middle school or wherever. Yeah. Or language school.
All right, sounds good. Perfect. So, because I have to be careful about what I use for pictures and documents now, I actually am going to screen share Office that I built or constructed on using Microsoft. Okay. So I'm just going to share this with you to kind of set the mood. It's nothing fantastic, but at the same time, kind of puts you in that mood of, work would sit, all right, and then you would sit in one of these two chairs, kind of a waiting thing. So this is a general, I would say, common kind of office. Maybe a principal's office, and I don't know how to get that away. Stop. All right, well, that's close enough. All right, so Ken, you're going to come in, you're going to sit down, and I'm going to say hello and welcome to John Smith High School, okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you if you have your resume with you, because we'll be in the United States. All right, so do you have your resume with you today?
Sure. Here is my resume.
Okay, great. Oh, looks like Chen Hu is here. Let's see if Chen Hu is able to speak, and we'll pass my role over to Chen Hu. Chen Hu, can you hear me? Can you speak? Or do you have a microphone? Maybe not. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Maybe sometimes he talks, but not this time.
I think he has a problem with internet as well. Okay, well, we'll continue, Ken. Okay, so thank you for your resume. Looks like you have some experience. So can you tell me about your last job that you had?
Yes.
Where you worked?
I was working at the university as a teaching assistant. In that assistant job, I helped the teacher in a lot of different aspects because teacher's requirement is up to the professor basically. So uh, I did some scoring after exam or checking the exam or sometime teaching uh, lectures in the class. Uh, Also, I taught in the middle school to get my English teacher's license here.
Mm-hmm.
That was very helpful because students are different uh, from university students. I still remember the principal middle school said to me, uh, you should explain even the difficult thing in a simple way for mid school students.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I agree with him because teaching the students knowledge is essential for teachers, but at the same time, especially in such a middle school or elementary school level, teachers should explain even the difficult things in a simple way to be understood for all students. So these are my experience of teaching.
Okay, very good. And so, what was the main difference between teaching in a middle school and teaching in a high school? You said the students are different.
Yes, I taught middle university, and university student at the beginning, Japanese middle school is a mandatory education. So all walks of life students are in the same class. And some student went to is going to the kind of how can we say Quran schooling uh,
Mm-hmm.
school after this actual school. So student level is up to students. But compared with that, university has an exam, so more average students, same level average students are in the classroom. Also, they are more adult than middle school students. They know more about the something. So that's the meaning why mid school students taught me you know as a middle school teacher you should explain that even the difficult thing in a simpler way as
Mm-hmm.
you as much you can. So such kind of thing I think different from university and middle school.
Okay. And do you think that has helped you with this, with your teaching and you as a teacher?
Mhm. Definitely, I think a teacher have to deal with a lot of different types of students. So and to manage a lot of different classroom different I think it's how can I say it's made me a better teacher than ever.
Okay, very good. And so, why are you interested in teaching in general?
Mhm. Yes, how can I say the learning is uh, input process, but the teaching is a bit different. It's output process also. After the input, maybe we want to output that knowledge or that technique. So from teaching process, I can output my skill or knowledge. That's the interest part of teaching. One of the interest parts of teaching.
Okay, very good. So, as a child, did you ever have a favorite teacher? And, maybe why? Or did this teacher help you in a specific way?
Mhm. Yes, I have several favorite teachers. They are very kind and gentle and helpful. Also, one teacher, she's a music teacher, and when I was a second grade of elementary school, after all classes was over, that teacher always played organ, and we sing together. and we dance together, and we get out from the classroom like a party. Actually, I really like that. That style. And I think it was one was a vehicle to she made me love music actually. So teachers sometimes very influential to students' mind. It's also interesting or important aspect of teacher's job.
Okay, and so do you think this has helped you want to become a teacher?
That music, but after that, my interest as a kind of a career, I was much more keen about English. So, but nowadays here, educational ministry said to hold communicative class because there's a big problem here. English education is mandatory from mid school to university, and maybe elementary school or English classroom will begin to mandatory soon. Even though many people cannot speak English, so English teachers here are required to hold more communicative class. I think such a more communicative class that musical teachers technique can be used, especially for small kids or middle school students, or even the university students too.
Okay, very good. Um, and so where do you see yourself in about 5 years from now? Do you still see yourself teaching? Do you see yourself doing maybe a different job or something similar?
Now, thinking about my career and what path I did that did a pass through, uh, I cannot imagine I would be doing another job actually. So I really want to be a teacher to fulfill my dream and to fulfill my career.
Okay, very good. And so tell me about your experience with English. When did you start learning? Tell me about your studies, everything like that.
Yes, at the beginning, I sometimes played with my American relatives' kids, and they were bilingual at that time. And so I was really amazed. They could switch language. When I talk to me, they speak Japanese, but when they talk to their parents, they to talk in English. So I really wanted to do that because English sounds cool to me, and talking different language was just amazing. That's a primary motivation. And after that, I began to love to be crazy about music. So I wanted to sing English song like some of my favorite rock stars. So I started English learning by myself with using records or cassette tape. I At that time I didn't know the meaning of English at all. I just know some easy phrase or easy words only. But I realized pronunciation difference from between Japanese and English. Japanese has always ends with zero with vowels, but English is not. So sometimes I want to erase my vowel in the end to sing English songs. I or sometimes English sounds connects. Uh, for example, can I change to can I, and when I change to when I. So I learned such kind of English songs through my karaoke singing English training. But it was fun. At that time I didn't think it was learning.
Okay, well, that's actually really interesting. So you became interested in English because of family. So have you visited the family in the United States?
Yes, he was he they were living in California mainly, and one of them
Hmm.
were living in Chicago. I've been to California for meet them and their family now, and Los Angeles and a small town in California.
Mm-hmm. Great. And so do you speak English a lot during the day, and how do you keep up with your English learning?
Yes, nowadays internet is pretty helpful. Before that, I just doing shadowing, in front of mirror because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, without internet, it's very difficult to speak in English. So I speak in English by myself, or I just listen to English, or I just think in English. But internet changed everything. All of a sudden, I can speak with English speakers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, I talk to my friends on Skype, but I attend online classes. And these things are very helpful for to improve my English, I believe.
All right, very good. And do you find it difficult to continue kind of learning or maintaining your English level?
Yes, but now it's not difficult because luckily I can get the opportunity to speak in English on the internet. But if I wouldn't have it, I think it's difficult to keep my English level,
All right.
especially speaking level.
Okay, very good. All right, so the position that we're looking for is someone to be teaching here the English classes, okay, for the high school. And so we have children from, 14 years old to 18 or sometimes 19. And so
Mhm.
how do you feel about teaching that age range? Is that okay for you? Do you find it challenging?
Mhm. I think I've never taught that high school kids, but I
Mm-hmm.
taught for mid school kids, and I think maybe high school teaching is somewhat similar to mid school teaching, but they know more difficult grammar, or they know more difficult words, so maybe something different. But I can challenge that because challenging is fun to me, especially for English, for teaching English.
Okay, very good. All right. So basically, the normal school year is from September. Normally, you would start working at the end of August, so in a couple of weeks here. And then, you get your typical holidays off in the United States. And, we finish up in June, mid-June normally, after, have to do grades and things like that. Um, and so, do you have any questions for me? You will
Yes,
be working full time. Mm-hmm.
mhm. Oh, yeah. Yes, it is very helpful for me to if I get permanent full-time position. And what about social uh, social welfare, and can I get my salary in American dollars or Japanese yen? And this is like, yeah.
Okay, so yes, you will get American dollars. And as far as apartments, I'm sure we have, a lot of people to help with that. And there's always things kind of going on in the city. So, you won't be alone. You can make friends, you'll meet people. Okay.
Oh, that sounds
Does,
great.
okay, good. And so are you able to come over in just a couple weeks and start?
Oh yeah, perfect.
Okay, great. Well, I think we will be in contact with you. I do have to discuss your interview with my boss and see what she says. So I will get back to you. I do have your contact information, and thank you very much for your interview today.
Thank you very much for taking your time to me.
Not a problem. Thank you, and I will talk to you soon.
Yeah, talk to you too soon. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, good. So, any questions? I mean, how is this as an interview, Ken, as a non-interviewee now?
Yes. I said yeah a lot, but I think sometimes a yeah is not proper in the interview. Maybe yes is
Um,
better.
Correct. I mean, I was a little bit informal as well. I think just because, we're used to speaking informally here. But sure, yeah, you should be a little bit more conscious about what you're saying. So yeah, I do agree with you with that. Anything else? I mean, how were the questions? Did you feel nervous?
Yeah, definitely no.
Okay.
Especially the salary or social welfare, such kind of thing. I was wondering how can I ask or should I ask or should
You
not?
should definitely ask. I think when you ask, serious questions like this, you're really trying to figure out if this, the money's going to work, if the hours are worth it, and everything like that. So I think when you do ask specific questions like that, it just means that you're more serious about accepting the position. So yes, definitely do ask. And I didn't want to say, you make X amount per year because it depends where you live. It depends if you're in a big city, depends on the state, things like that. So numbers I don't really have. So, but yes, you definitely should ask. You should ask about retirement funds and 401ks, which is, money that the job also puts into a fund for when you do retire. So there's lots of things that you can ask. Trying to think. I asked about when I first got to Spain, one of my questions was, how should I dress? Because in the United States, it's so different. And I had
Mm,
brought like black dress pants, and kind of more formal clothing, just because I thought that's what people would wear. And basically, they literally told me if it's not a mini skirt and it's clean, you're okay. And so I
yeah.
was like pretty open there. So, that's something I personally would ask going to a different country as well. It's one of the things, like I said, I asked. There's a lot of holidays here, and that's something that I didn't really expect. So, I mean, that's why I wanted to mention, you get the typical holidays off in the United States, because that's,
I have heard now American people work more than Japanese people actually. They are very hard workers. Yeah,
well,
I
being
have
a
heard
teacher
of that.
too, actually, is pretty intense, and it's not just the hours that you actually have to do classes. It's
Right.
preparation, and there's different levels, and you can use the same activity, but it has to be adapted for each level. So
Yeah.
there is a lot involved. But then you get the summer off, and you do get paid during the summer as well in the United States.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Here too. Yeah. Teachers are school has some vacation, but it is paid for teachers indefinitely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good. Any other questions about the interview that you just had? Anything
Mm,
maybe?
anything else? The kind of a greeting. What is a proper greeting of the
Um,
introduction and farewell greeting?
okay, good. Yeah, and because I'm not normally interviewing people, I kind of probably skipped over a couple parts. Basically, you should just walk in, shake hands right away. That would be if it's male or female, if it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Um, and then from there, they might just say, "Well, tell me a little bit about yourself." And so then you could kind of go into, a little bit of your background, and things like that. Your resume will say a lot about you as well. Um, but maybe your hobbies and things that you like to do, just so they can kind of get to know more of who you actually are.
Mhm. Mm,
Okay.
I see. So my name or
Yeah, your name. You don't really need to say your age. That really shouldn't matter, and I don't think they can ask you, but it also would be on your resume. You
mm,
can maybe talk about your family if you have family, if you have kids.
mm,
There you could talk about kind of that moment of when you decided to be a teacher. It just kind of depends. You kind of have to sell yourself a little bit
mm,
in that moment. But at the same time, you do want to focus on what the actual question was, and that's, talking about yourself. So
mm,
good. All right. Well, now the second part of this is that I was going to do is
okay.
now people talking about whether to hire you or not. All
Mm,
right. So I'm thinking I will be the person who interviewed you, and you will be the boss. Does that sound okay?
okay. I'm an interviewer.
No, you're switching roles now. You're not going to, now we're going to be talking about you as the interviewee, but you're going to be either, well, you can choose. So the person who I was the interviewer, okay? Or you
Mhm.
can be my boss. So you can choose. Which one would you rather be? Because
Uh,
we're just going to talk about your interview and decide if we're going to hire you or not.
I see. Okay, maybe could be interesting to be a boss. I mean, I ask myself, no.
All right, let me move down here for the interview picture. I'm hoping
In
these are
general,
okay. These are in
this kind of role
Microsoft.
play, we just play the interview and the interviewer, but I've never
Mhm.
played, the boss kind of thing to discuss hire or not. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's why I wanted, at least four people here would have been perfect. Two to be the interviewer, and then two to be the interviewer with the boss in that boss situation. So,
Okay.
but that's okay. A little bit confusing, but it's okay for us. So you're going to be my boss. And so basically, you will be asking me questions,
Mhm.
okay, about yourself, about your interviewee self. So, all right, so you know nothing. Basically, you know that I've done a couple of interviews, but I had one today. And so you're going to kind of check in with me and look at my notes and things like that, okay?
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to go in and say, "Hey boss, I
Hello,
just had
Rebecca.
another interview today,
Mhm.
and so I'd like to talk to you about this one as well."
Okay, how was that?
All right, well, it went pretty well. It seems like we have a good candidate here. Um, I might have a couple doubts just because he lives far away. And maybe the culture is really different, but I think besides that, I think he might be a really good fit.
Mhm. Oh, I see. Where is he come from?
Well, he comes from Japan, and so the culture is quite different, and we did talk about pronunciation differences, and he speaks very well. Pronunciation is very well, so that's fine. He doesn't have experience with high school students, but he does have experience with older students and younger,
Mhm.
so
I
that's
see.
fine too.
Mm, sounds nice. And uh, but how about kind of social welfare program? Because I think Japan and America has a different system. Did he accept that difference?
We didn't really get to talk about too much
Mhm.
of that, but I think, that there will be things for him. So I think he will be fine there.
I
So
see.
that's something to look into as well.
Mhm.
So we do.
And sorry, how much salary did he expect?
We didn't talk about exact numbers, but I
Okay.
think he will be able to survive. He'll be able to rent an apartment, and eat and still have time to go out, and so
Mhm.
he'll be fine there. So it didn't seem like money was a huge factor for him. But of course, we do need to make sure that he's paid sufficiently enough in order to
Mhm.
live a nice life here.
Mhm. Okay, it sounds a bit challenging because we've never hired a Japanese person as a teacher, so but I think it's good for the students to know the diversity of the world. So that's it. Aspect, yeah. He could be an interesting candidate to be a teacher in this high school.
Mm-hmm. I think so. Maybe what we could do is do a kind of like a trial and see how he does with some
Oh, yeah.
classes. Maybe with maybe younger kids because the younger children start a couple days before. Maybe he can, do a kind of student teach kind of situation so he can get used to kind of how schools go and children and things like that. I think that would be helpful. Maybe a couple days of training just in, our normal
Mm,
school and what we normally do, and talk about some differences just so we can get used to kind of the lifestyle as well because coming from Japan things have to be very different and that goes for food and just adjustment to getting used to how everything is. So yeah, I definitely think it's possible.
yeah, maybe such kind of trial or yeah, period is very important to to assimilate to society. Yes, so
Hmm.
I agree with your idea.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's important. And as I have experience teaching in a different country, just to give him some time, it kind of help out because what's normal for us isn't normal
Mhm.
for him, and so maybe discipline. We can talk about different ways that the appropriate discipline here, and maybe see how he disciplines, or in Japan how they discipline, and so we can work on something there too. So I think, yeah, we need to do a little bit of work here with him before he actually gets started, but I think that's fine. So,
Yes.
do you have any other questions?
No, maybe if I'm began to be interested in him, so can I meet him, interview him before we
Okay.
hire him?
Absolutely. Why don't we do a second interview and you can go ahead and
Okay.
talk to him at that point, okay? And then
Okay.
you can kind of get a feel for how things went. So I'll
Mhm.
go ahead and give him a call back in just a little bit here and see when would you like him to come in for a second interview?
Mhm. Okay, let me check my schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And next Monday's afternoon would be good to me.
Okay, sounds good. So I'll give him a call and I will make sure that he's available Monday afternoon,
Okay.
and
Mhm.
then we'll go from there.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, Rebecca.
You're very welcome. Thanks, boss. Good. All right. So how is it being the boss in this situation?
I don't know. Evaluating myself is very, very difficult.
Yeah, it is. It's
But
hard to
you
think of.
abroad, maybe you have experience to live abroad. Yeah, your point is very correct. Yeah, kind of. He needs to take a time to to know the American culture. Yeah, such kind of things is very
Hmm.
helpful. Yes.
Well, and I think that's important in general because that happened to me is that I came here and people are like, oh, well, give us grades. And I'm like, I don't know. You do 1 to 10, in the United States, you do A, B, C, D, and F. And so I was like, what is this? And and just their expectations of me. I had zero training. It was they just put me in a classroom and basically said, "Okay, teach." And I, you know, didn't know what I was doing. They wanted a native, and I was a native, but I had no teaching experience. I had no grammar background, and so I was just kind of thrown in there. And so I just think that we could have they could have done something a little bit different here. And I think they could use us more because the way that they pay us here is pretty decent compared to, the average salary, and we work very few hours. And so I think they should really utilize the native English teachers more so than they actually did. So to be a little bit more serious, actually.
I see.
Okay. All right, well, let's talk to Anna here for a second. Sure, actually, why don't you two do a role play? We still have a couple minutes left, and so that's perfect. Anna, basically what we did today is I interviewed Ken. He was going to be an English teacher in the United States, so I was the boss, and then we did a different role play where he was the boss talking to me about Ken, Ken that want to be teacher. So that was good. Well, actually, why don't you pick one that you would like to do? And that's fine. Actually, might be easier to do the first one, where one is the interviewee and the interviewer is the other one. Does that sound okay, Anna?
Yes, Becky. Thank you very much. I just saw the invitation and it was late, and then I had some connection problems. I'm so sorry
That's
for.
okay. It worked out, so don't worry about that. Glad you could join us, though, and it's nice to see you as well. So, how is everything in Brazil with the Olympics? Is it hectic, or does it not bother you at all?
It doesn't bother me at all.
Mm.
I heard about some problems where the athletes had stage, like
Mm-hmm.
things that she didn't work and stuff. But um, overall, I think it's going well,
Okay.
despite the fact that we don't earn a lot of medals.
Well, I'm not even really paying attention to what's going on, so but that's okay. All right, well, good. So why don't you two go ahead? Let me move this back to the office part here. And so Anna, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the person who's doing the interview or the person who is being interviewed?
I want to be interviewed because I want to be an English teacher. It's
Okay.
true. Then I
Mm-hmm.
can practice.
Sounds good. All right, so Ken, so you're basically doing what I was doing before and asking the questions, okay? At least now you have some experience.
Okay.
All right, so you two can start whenever you're ready, okay?
Okay. Hello, Anna.
Hello, and nice to meet you. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming this interview. And I have a couple of questions. But before that, did you bring your resume?
Yes, I brought my resume, but I have to confess that
Mhm,
I don't have a lot of experience
mhm,
teaching English. I'm
mhm,
not as an employee hired
mhm, mhm,
by a company.
mhm,
However, I have some experience, and
mhm.
this job is like a dream.
And what kind of experience have you experienced for being a teacher?
Oh well, um, I taught some classes as a
Mhm,
moderator
mhm,
in a company called Intenga.
mhm,
But I was not a teacher. Uh, Students were allowed to lead some classes there,
mhm,
and also I have a community on
mhm,
Google,
mhm,
and every now and then I have some hangouts, and people
mhm,
enjoy them.
mhm,
Also, I had the opportunity to have some private students through
mhm,
Google,
mhm,
but now I have no one. I think it's because the economical crisis that we've been facing
mhm.
here in the country.
So, and do you feel there any differences between online class and actual class?
Yes, uh,
Mhm,
I like it teaching online,
mhm,
because it's convenient. Um, it's it, it's really nice because people feel at ease. They are allowed to make mistakes because they can see each other, and so I think it's the best environment to teach and to learn.
And here, this high school and age level of this high school is from 16 and to 18. And have you taught these age students online?
Um, well, yes, people from all ages join my hangouts. You
Oh,
know,
sounds
from even younger people and older
nice.
people, and I get along with teenagers very well. Actually, I'm enrolled at a high school online, an English high school online, and I get along very well with my classmates. They are all teenagers.
Mm. What is your vehicle of being teacher or teaching uh, online classes as a moderator? So, what is why do you want to be a teacher?
Because I'm passionate about English. When I started learning, I thought I would never be capable of speaking, and now I like it so much. And I love meeting people from all over the world. Um, it's something that I enjoy doing, and if I could earn money doing something like that, it would be so great.
I see. And let me change the question. And uh, uh, what how can I sorry? Uh, in what way did you learn English? Because you speak English pretty well. So
First of all, thank you so much for the compliment. I started um, learning by myself through Duolingo. Then I enrolled at some online English courses, and that's all. I've been studying online.
mhm. And so this is a high school teaching. Maybe it's a bit different from online teaching and to hold actual classroom. Uh, in, do you think it's challenging or if so, in what how does it challenge for you?
Well, it might be challenging, but I enjoy
Mhm.
challenges. You know,
Okay.
I think I will. I think if you give me this opportunity, I won't let you down. You know, I will try to have a very dynamic class to motivate the students. To do some role plays, fun activities, to read some books, some excerpts from some books, and I bet they will enjoy my class. Um,
Mhm.
I will
Yeah.
try my best, and
Mm.
I will be really grateful if you give me the opportunity.
Mm.
Would you like to give it a try?
I see. So yeah, we'll consider you as a hiring as a teacher, and we need to ask about this. We need we'll report this interview to my boss. And before that, do you have any question about
Yes.
our school?
Uh-huh. Yes, I have some questions. Uh, I'm sure that I have to follow a curriculum, right?
Sorry, what did you say?
I have to follow the curriculum, right? You have
Curriculum.
the curriculum set
Mm,
up
yes.
already?
All right. Yes.
Uh-huh. But
Until high school. Sorry,
yes,
go ahead.
sorry. I'd like to know if I'm allowed to bring some new activities, without uh, without um how can I say, oh my gosh, without getting off
Mhm.
the curriculum, but in order
Oh,
to make it more interesting for the students, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but however, the syllabus in high school is strictly regulated by the government, actually. So you need to follow syllabus. This, uh, Without that, you cannot teach
Oh,
English, unfortunately. But you know, you can arrange the syllabus in their own way. That's acceptable.
okay. Oh, okay.
Or how to interpret the syllabus, it's up to you.
Ah, nice. Thank you. So I think I will be very happy to work for you.
Okay. Thank you very much taking time for you. For us.
All
And
right.
yes, and we will ask about this interview, my boss, and after that, I will call you. Is it okay?
Okay. Yes, sure. I will be waiting anxiously. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
All right, very good. Seems like Anna's a pretty good candidate there. And Ken, you did a great job with being the interviewer this time. So I'm glad you got to
So
play that role as well. Yes?
uh, maybe curriculum can be said syllabus. That's better,
Yeah,
probably.
syllabus is what you have to follow. Curriculum, I think is still it's similar, but now I have to
Mhm.
teach curriculum as like resume because it's British English, and so that's why I added syllabus in there.
I see.
Uh, I was going to ask about it. I don't understand syllables.
Yep, syllabus is what we normally students get the first day of school, and they are basically saying this is what you're going to do in the class in this year, and so that's I think what you were asking about. Okay.
Okay. And how can I say that better? You know, to follow the syllables,
Yep. To
but
follow
to
syllabus, you continue to
to to
follow.
bring new methods. How can I say, to do role plays? How can I ask you if I have um to
Well, the
follow?
syllabus is normally just kind of like a guideline, and then within that kind of guideline, you can choose to do whatever you want and teach how you want. And so, to me, the syllabus is just a guideline. It's not that you have to, teach this a certain way. So that's open anyway, at least in the United States.
Mhm.
Okay, so that really technically wouldn't be a problem. I think normally you would, maybe go over it on the board and then practice and things like that. So, but that's normally pretty open as far as what the teacher likes to do and things like that.
Here,
So,
until high school, teacher have to follow the syllabus from the government. There's a several textbook and interpretation was different, but until high school, teacher have to follow the syllabus. So, but university teachers are free. They can make class
mm,
whatever they want.
okay,
That's a
no.
real difference between okay, US and here.
One of the differences, no,
I
everything's,
see.
I mean, normally there's a certain way that people always do things because I think it's the best, but no, you can absolutely kind of teach in different ways. Teachers choose the books that students read, and so the teachers really they're pretty involved in a lot of the, things that are how things are done.
I see.
Thank you,
hmm Well,
Becky.
great. So, yes?
Did I make any mistake?
You know what? I really didn't hear a lot of mistakes. I think you did just fine. I wasn't concentrated on the mistakes. I was listening to how you were answering and that kind of thing. So you did just fine, Anna.
All right.
Okay. Well, we are out of time for today, so I'm going to stop this live broadcast, or is it stop?